Hey there folks, and welcome to the GT7 Showcase at Update 1.66, where I'm showcasing the rest of the Engineswaps, starting with the B&R 34 GTR in one base of the mines. Which cars that get this Engineswap is the R32 GTR Nismo and the R33 GTR V-Spec 1997. Because both the mines motor at the end of it, even though I would rather have the R92 there. Yeah, sure, but we were driving at Alpalas at the 5x10 burn rate there. Yeah. So basically doing the Autopolis race in World Touring Car 800 on a custom setting instead of the regular setting. Yeah, you get more money doing that, exactly. Although it does kind of depends, but if you just slap on like Comfort hard tires, you can just get more money. But anyways, the R33 with the GTR V-Spec with the Mines motor is... Do I kind of want to say it's the same? It's like kind of the same. I think if you think the Mines delivers, maybe more acceleration, perhaps. That's the only thing I kind of think out of this. Besides a different sound cue that the Mines is known for, I'm noticing. But that's what I kind of think about really it. Otherwise, it's set up as a 275 horsepower, or yeah, 275 mile per hour setting. So it's at, I believe it's technically highest because I don't think you can do 300. It's pretty dang close though. It really likes to achieve it, but it just really can't. But yeah, as the saying goes though, I would rather stick the R92 motor in this than the R34 Mines motor, because I mean, besides if you want a Mines setting, because I will say Mines didn't just do the R34, they did the R33 and the R32, and they also did a Lancer, which who knows if we're getting that Lancer. But I assume like at some point we probably will, because it is kind of one of the super rare ones that Mines did. Because it was kind of weird that Mines did a Lancer, and then they just did a bunch of Skylines just stuck to it since then. So I don't know if that Lancer was ever a good design or a bad design. I just know that Lancer, if I recall, that was like 500 to 600 horsepower. So it was just as crazy as the R34 Skyline Mines. But with the Skyline Mines motor, this car, I don't know if I want to say very different from the R33. I would assume just more accelerant. I assume it delivers more acceleration. So that's why it hits the low A at least, because not only you can do a high setting with this, you also get the nice sound, and you get, you know what, I take that back. Probably not low A. I would say like higher than that. I would say technically say in a mid A. I would say it's not crazy, it's not race car length, but it is good enough for this occasion here, where it can beat GT3 cars in a custom setting, at least for the most part. You know, I was very tired about this, even though it's kind of very tired in general to do this, even with the 275 mile per hour setting. No, horsepower wise, it's like 900 horsepower if I recall on the screenshot there. I need to check the screenshots every day, because I noticed I think I spelled like 390 horsepower on the, I think it was the Mazda. It turns out it was 380. My bad. I'm not gonna be factual about that. I'm just gonna say an estimate. As thing goes, just to dodge, you know, being so wrong. I am wrong at the end there, but you know, wrong. Yeah, I got some interesting customers for the Grade 3 when you put in a custom setting. Like example, you get to see the Volkswagen Beetle. Which, holy crap, you don't know how rare that is to see that, just to say, because whenever they pick the GT3 cars, it's usually the common place ones. Heck, you don't even see this in the GT3 race. You do not see the Pennzoil Skyline. You see that in the freaking World Touring 900, I believe. Which I don't know why it's there. Where it should be like an LMP3 or something there instead. That's the one thing I find so wrong about when it comes to the World Touring 900 is that they not only have GT2s, I feel like it should have some like low power LMPs, which we do have low power LMPs, they're just not there at the end of it. But yeah, I'm just gonna be spouting more stuff because there's not really much to say about the Mines motor besides being a very expensive motor to slap in the Skyline at the end of the day, where I, like I said, I think the R92 is just gonna be better because it's not only a race car motor, it's an LMP. Well, not LMP, but Group C motor. You can technically say LMP, but yeah. But yeah, overall though, you would rather have that over that because of fuel reasons and I would say acceleration because I recall the R92 motor being very crazy good too. If I think there's one thing that the Mines motor kind of delivers a bit more, I think it's more stable. I think I did notice that it was a bit more stable, but for how much it is just to swap for the Nismo, and although I will say I might debate on the Nismo one because at least that might be better than the VR38 motor, even though that's the newer Skyline. It's possible that's even better than that, but for as a 5-speed car, because yeah, I will say the biggest problem about the R33 and R32, they're stuck with 5 speeds. It wasn't until the R34 they got 6-speed, which is odd for a car that's supposed to beat supercars. You would think it'd be a 6-speed, because I thought the NSX was a 6-speed too, but I might be wrong. That might be 5-speed as well. But yeah, I'm just trying to catch up all to these grade 3 cars at the end of the day. They haven't pit yet, just to say, as you can see. Because most of the tire is barely non-existent. I'm still surprised they're even able to drive that, to be honest. But then again, like I said, race cars, they're usually pretty durable about... Like, you can technically drive on balls at some point. On some race cars. But I will say for grade 3s, debatable on that. But yeah, for the real contenders of this event, I have the Audi R8 being a butt. Because you have both the R8 LMS and the LMS Evo. So it's like, oh crap. It's like, okay. Okay, these are both real too. Because yeah, I will say, when you see a year next to the grade 3, it's mostly an indication they exist. So, like, for example, the Ford GT race car, that exists. And also, that Ford GT is in a better position would it ever be in the... compared to the World Touring Car 800 will be in the back for some reason. Because I will say the great part about custom race, they're not in a locked pace. They're in a pace that defines the car's skill at the end of the day. That's what I like about custom race, because it still defines the skill. It's just the biggest problem is they do get a sort of boost when you're like far ahead. Not as crazy as Sophie though, luckily, and that's probably a good thing about this. At the end of the day. Although I will say, if this was Sophie, they probably would have beat me. Beat me to the ground. As the thing goes. Yeah, hit 146 though. That's pretty quick, I guess. For times. I think it hits around 670 pp. Or no, not 600. No, not 670. It's like 770 pp, if I recall. It's like right up there. It's like on a good margin. And not only that, when you have a high performance car like this and 275, it's really great. It's an all-wheel drive, because then look how much I've just power drift that turn sometimes. Very amazing for the most part. Like, even if this is an Engineswap, it's still really freaking good. But yeah, if you want a Mines take on the R33, just go find vinyls, because no doubt someone probably put up a bunch of Mines vinyl and stuff to slap it on this car and make it look like the Mines R33 Skyline. I don't know if you can perfect it to look like it, but you can get really close about it. Considering, I think this is the spoiler for the Mines R33 Skyline too, on top of it. I think. I just know there is a bit different accents and stuff, if I recall, for the Mines R33 one, but the R32 one might be more easier. Might be. It really depends on that project, but you know. And I could be, you know, totally wrong, because like I said, I'm not going to be factual about that, but I assume in imagination theory, you know. You know, that's spouting bullshit, as thing goes. But yeah, here we go, hitting the checker. But yeah, I'm just going to show at least like a quick 5 to 6 minute portion, except for the last one. The last one did a bit longer, but on to the next one, which is the next one. The more I looked at this, the more I'm realizing it's got a bit less than what it is, but it's the Engineswap coming from the Lancer Evo Final Grade B rally car. Which is for the FTO GP version R, because yeah, not only it came introducing this update, but it also got an Engineswap immediately, which is in case it's that one. So we are driving up Mount Panorama, and it's heading close to the World Touring Car 700 at 10 times fuel and 9 times tire burn. But yeah, already pitted and have like 2 laps left, so it's just gonna be a short take on this one. But overall, I'd say it's not a bad setup. There's just one problem: it has acceleration stutter because it's an FF. I will say, I still kind of want to talk about a good bit of this, because not only what you see the terrorizing is the Magani trophy, which, by the way, he bullshit. Because just to say, I did a lap, I did turn around and drive the Magani. It only did like 2:14.5 at best. So it really bullshit what the time's pulling there and stuff. But to say though, for the FTO GP version R with the Lancer motor, it's not bad, but it has acceleration stutter, so you might have bad acceleration takes when it comes to hardcoring and that such. So I assume maybe some weight balancing perhaps might adjust that result, but even at like 370 horsepower, which is kind of funny because the Magani trophy hits around there in terms of range too, it's kind of on par with the Magani, just a little bit quicker, I would say. If you compare the Magani as a stock, they're not using racing transmission stuff. I think when you use racing transmission stuff, I think the Magani is quicker. But yeah, when these Sophies get in these cars, they're supposed to be stock, but these times say otherwise sometimes. Like I was like, even though he's not showing the fast times, this guy, he's kind of lucky there. I do know I tried this instance twice. I fucked up on one occasion on these corners here, because I think I overbraked here. I just lost the race, so I had to do it again, just to do a better take on it, and not give a shitty take, because I don't want to lose. I want to at least show I have gratitude of winning. It shows gratitude of winning, you know, not just for me, but to show that the car can do it at the end of it. You know, yeah, the GT by Citron's in here, and yeah, if you don't know the GT by Citron, that is a fast freaking grade 4 car, I will say. The problem is, I think it sucks a lot of fuel, so back to the pits it goes. Although I will say, if it didn't have the pit there, it probably would have kept up with us. But my other big talk I want to talk about when it comes to FTO before we move on here for the next 2 minutes. I wish that it could also have a drivetrain conversion too. Like you can go from FF to FR or all-wheel drive. Because if it had FR, this would be a really amazing car. If it had all-wheel drive, it would be a super amazing car, and it would actually fit some of the special FTO version R's out there. Because just to say, there is some version R FTOs out there. I believe they have all-wheel drive. This might be more pointed to the Eclipse though, but from what I read, apparently there is an all-wheel drive take on this car on top of it. So you could have a Lancer in a coupe form that is the FTO, even though the FTO is supposed to be the front drive car. But yeah, here's the best part about the FTO. You can also add the Lancer motor too. So yeah, so there's versions like that as well. But yeah, I just wish in the future though, throughout these next pair of updates here, like yeah, I still kind of fucked up. I hit a corner here. Now I rubbed onto him. I was like, no, you're not taking this. I still outrun him though, on the straightaways at least, because I hit at least 170, he hits 155. But to say though, I would like that they would do drivetrain conversions in the future, so that way some cars would get even more incredible, I will say. Because I will just say this, I really wish for FR conversion for the Civic in the future, because oh my god, would that fix the Civic's big problems. And actually make it a threat. Because I'm just gonna say, the FF holds it back. It's always held it back since then, to me. But when you switch it to an FR or an all-wheel drive, that will eliminate the problem and stuff. So that would be pretty cool if they do conversion updates in the future. May even add a hybrid conversion update too, if they wanted that crazy. But that's all I could kind of really think of when it comes to that. So now on to the next car, which is the S-Space F1 1995. Which in terms of engine swaps that can set the S-Space is the Megane Trophy 2011, which you wouldn't be surprised, that's actually the worst one. The GR Super RZ 2019, which is the one I'm going to be showing. And also, I'm going to be showing one of the former cars here that has the RS S-Space as well. So I'm going to be showing a little bit of that one too. Because I might as well, because that's kind of special. So I'm going to be doing the Super S race at Laguna Seca, the World Touring Car 700 setting at 10 times fuel and 8 times tire wear, while a custom setting for the trial mountain for the former car, which is a 6x6, I believe. I believe 6x6. If not, then sorry, not. But onto the GR Super RZ S-Space F1 motor, because yeah, it's shocking that out of all the choices you put for the S-Space F1 motor, you put it in the Supra, which works. It's really good for the most part, but the problem is you have to keep it low horsepower. If you put in the high horsepower, it's just gonna burn those tires into shreds. So it's best for a low setting when it comes to the Supra, and also, you know, it gives the Supra a race car motor at the end of it, because fun fact, it doesn't have a race car motor. Because they haven't tried to put the GT3 or GT500 Supra motor in Supras yet, which is really weird they haven't yet. I would really like it they do. Instead, apparently it's a crisis on that. They're sacrilegious on that. But instead, though, you're able to put the S-Space F1 motor in this, which is not bad. I will say, if you set it any higher than what the setting this has, which I believe is like 430 horsepower or something like that, and then this is also 217 in terms of miles per hour, it's not gonna be that good because the tires are gonna burn out like no tomorrow. And matter of fact, you can see some indications of it trying to do it, but it, as low as it is now, it's fine. So if you set it at that setting exact, you're pretty good. But if you set it any higher, you're gonna have to do some kind of crazy adjustments to overhaul against the tire burnage part. It will burn those tires into two because, reminder, it's a V12 former car motor that hits in the ranges of like 14,000 to 20,000 RPM, so yeah. But the good results about this is that you get what is considered like grade 4 fuel capacity. Oh, don't mind me flipping there, my bad about that. I had to see like what was going on there. But for fuel capacity, it's about as on par, I would say, as a grade 4 car, maybe a little bit less. Because yeah, matter of fact, that's the biggest problem with the Megane trophy car, because I also tried that one too. That one was bad. Like, no matter how much I tried, it had the same problem the Supra had. It burned out the tires. Even as a grade 4, which you would think has a grade 4 body, which I said grade 4 loosely, that's like a GTX body, because I've been watching like these new, or not new, but researching about this. If there was like a GT4 in between of GT4 or GT3, and there was. It was GT3.5, and the Megane Trophy kind of hits that. I'm gonna be honest, just a little bit in similarity. Although GTXs were a bit higher, so it's like a similar case. It kind of is and kind of not. Because like if you look at the bodywork, they're kind of the same for trophy cars in terms of style. But other to say, the Magani trophy just wasn't that great. It didn't really give it any benefits at all, and was really hoping it would be a GT3 racer in a grade 4 body, but no. Sadly, I've not discovered one yet that can do that. Hopefully sometime soon I will, but for now, the Magani trophy just ain't good enough, Captain. This ain't good enough to me. So instead, we go with the Super RZ, because the Super RZ, it's beneficial for the Super RZ because it allows it to have a race car motor at the end of the day, or grade 4 racing at the end of the day. So it's pretty good for what it serves. And such. So pretty good for the most part for the Super RZ. I'm just racing basically against supercars, and you just see them just constantly pitch at the end of the day. They are pretty fast though, they're in like 125s. And especially with the Sophie boost. I think I'm starting to just call it Sophie boost. So. But yeah, this overall, the Super RZ is just not a bad car with the F1 motor. It's just, I would recommend low horsepower. Do not go with the full 800 horsepower it's given, because it's just, it will just burn the tires in two. Can it hit 275 easily? Yes. It's just the problem is, I hope you didn't want tires in the back. So that's the biggest problem about when it comes to the Super in general, and you can kind of see an indication of that even on the low horsepower setting, because you can see the rears burn a bit more than the fronts. Just a tad. Or maybe I'm wrong. No, I take that back. The back looks like, okay, so it's healthier that way, alright. Because yeah, the whole point when you do these Engineswaps, I hope you don't expect that you're going to use all the horsepower or all the higher horsepower in that car that didn't ever should have that horsepower, because it ain't gonna do that, Captain. I'll tell you that much. I mean, unless you do the same weight balance adjustment, that's possible then. Maybe. I don't know. I had to do a testing like that, but I still haven't did it yet. For the most part, I've been like more concerned about, you know, uploading the videos right now, because as you can see, I didn't really upload at all this week, which I feel really bad because I'm just so backed up. It's not even funny, and there's not even a good reason why. It's just I was just like having a hard thought process how to do this all together, and I was like, you know what? I'll just dedicate the whole week just doing this. Maybe a bonus, I'll toss the tryouts, but we'll see here. I got the next tryouts technically all set up. I just got to do the extra menus stuff and whatnot. But for now, for the GR Supra RZ F1 is not a bad one. It's okay for the most part. It's kind of funny. Let me see if you can hit me on here. Oh my god. Yeah, that's don't use the supercars for this. Or if you do, detune them. That might be okay then. Might be. Can't say much for the Veyron though. The Veyron, well, like the Shelby GT350R that uses the Chiron motor, which, yeah, if I had to choose between the Chiron and the Veyron, I probably would have chose the Veyron, because at least you could detune the Veyron a bit more. And it's even funnier too, because there's a grade 4 Veyron, just to say. So it's even funnier. And it turns out that's a very good grade 4 too. In some cases, considering it has a small spoiler, and that small spoiler gives it a much more speed advantage. Now in aerodynamics, though, I can't say much about that one. But for the spoiler, the less spoiler though, it gets more speed, because basically it's using its pop-up spoiler as a mainstay spoiler. Like it technically should. I kind of wish there was a button on the car where you could change the settings on how you can adjust the spoiler, you can adjust other things for the most part. We have the lean feature. I just kind of wish there was a function feature for some cars that have this kind of function to say, instead of the stupid pop-up spoiler, because it's bad for the car. But now onto the former car, which the former car, I don't know, I guess you just, in case you want to make your Williams former car, because I believe this motor is technically from a Williams former car that, you know, is, you know, endorsing at the end of the day. So in case you just want to relive the memory of having a Williams former car, here you go, basically. I guess that. But overall, it does, I think, pretty good for the most part. If anything, you have to deal with the acceleration stutter, because yeah, this is at a 250 mile per hour build. And even at that, it's already pretty high for the acceleration stutter and stuff, so be careful of throttling hard. But you can just see as I just dance around that car though, which I'm not surprised, it's a super performance car. Those cars suck. You can just see me just blast on through as the thing goes. It's almost like the regular Formula cars are faster as the thing goes. I mean, although dangerous as fuck, I mean 240 miles per hour is wickedly fast, so just saying. That's a bit dangerous there, Captain. So I just bought the wall. If I bought the wall realistically, that tire would be gone. Because these things are also fragile too for suspension side, and they're going to pits. Goodbye. F3500As. So yeah, we got that. Super Performer cars. Because yeah, did you know there's a custom race dedicated for Performer cars now? Because I didn't know that until I did this test here. It's like, oh wait, do they actually have a custom race dedicated to putting all kind of Formula style kind of cars together? They do. And the funny part is, you had the Red Bull X219 competitive zone in here too. It's like, oh crap. And look how fast he's going too, like 131 at one point. That's a lot quicker than I am, for the most part. But someone did quicker than him, I don't know who. Probably like one of the F3500s and got some A's. FAs perhaps. And then you got the, oh my god. Then you had the funny one, the SRT Tomahawk. Look closely on that Tomahawk. It's wearing sports medium tires. I have no idea why it's wearing sports medium tires, but it's wearing sports medium tires. And that also tells me, in that case, if it had racing hard tires, this thing will kill Formula car racing. Literally. If it had the ability to. Luckily it don't. And the best part is, that's supposed to be the street racing car, by the way. Just holy crap to that. Yeah, you guys basically just got a bunch of super performer cars in the back behind the F3500s. Which not surprised, because they're not made for speed, they're made for turning and stuff. Because I will say, they probably will outturn the 3500. It's just speed-wise, not really there for the most part. And then you got the F1500s. A's. So you got your A's Formula car, or your Twist-Model Twister, or your Formula Indy cars for the most part. And then you got a Ferrari VGT, which is like, okay, it's like the hybrid systems is what's gonna kill it the most, though, sadly. As much as I want to say. Which makes me kind of debate, like, where if you should have the hybrid system on or not during when I do the tune setups, but then again, I think it is what it is, to be honest. But for the Formula 3 3500B or A, because I assume they're kind of the same, I assume they are. I could be dead direct wrong, and it turns out the A's may be superior with this motor perhaps, because I wouldn't be surprised, because the A's are a V12, so I assume that could be better or not. But for the B's case, it's not bad, but I will say it's a bit power hungry, so be careful on the draw, because it's going to freak out sometimes. So I got a lot of cases where I had to freak out. I think I had to increase the ride height, if I recall. Which, yeah, I will say majorities of these engine swaps here, I mostly increase the ride height. So just to say in advance, like this one, in the suspension height a little bit too, because it needs to handle that V12 of the S-Space. So, but yeah, if you want to just relive the glory moments of having the S-Space, but yeah, that's one way to get the Formula car motor around. Basically, you just take the S-Space F1 and slap it into this Formula car at the end of it, and get this nice little result. Yep, so that's basically it for the Formula car motors at the end of it. So both the Super RZ and the Formula car. So now on to the last one, and I think the best one, which is the 2N4 powered by RC213B. Now there's two cars that can have this engine swap, which is the Honda M1 RS, which is, it's okay. However, for the Suzuki Carry KC, it fixes a big problem I had for this truck entirely, because just to say, it wasn't able to hit 155 miles per hour, but with this motor, it does. So, it brings it to a stage higher, therefore, it is a higher rank than other ones. It is definitely in the I would say probably an S for the most part. It fixes what was a problem in this car, which is the kind of engine swaps I want to see in general, which I didn't even mention the event. But yeah, it's ignored in my 155 club setting. Because matter of fact, you get to see all the cars I have here for the 155 tryouts cup racing in the future. Not club. But to say though, the Suzuki Carry KC with the bike motor fixes the biggest flaw that the Suzuki Carry KC had with the regular motor, which was not able to hit 155 because the K motor can only get so much horsepower at the end of it. But with the bike motor though, it fixes the biggest flaw that the Suzuki Carry KC had, which is not able to go even faster. Matter of fact, I need to see if it hits 186 too, because it might be possible for that too, as top of it. But for as of now, as 155, it's phenomenally good for the most part. It's a really good thing, and it helps the Suzuki Carry KC, and this is why I rank it A, because it's not only does Engine Swap provides a additional way for the vehicle, but it also advances the car to a new stage where I would like to see in engine swaps, because some engine swaps, they just, just slightly change the car, but this engine swap here completely overhauls the car and makes it so much better. Matter of fact, out of all the not the K, but the 2 and 4 motors, this is probably the best one to put the engine swap into, is this one. Because the Carry KC is already a fast acceleration little beast at 130 miles per hour, because I should know, because I'm doing the 130 tryouts with the regular Carry KC, and that's already crazy enough. But with the bike motor, this bumps it up to even more. Now the trade-off though for being this fast now is of course the fuel burn. The fuel burn is a bit bigger because it is a truck after all. Because I will say anything like truck body or anything SUV body is definitely going to take a big hit on the fuel usage at the end of the day. But for the trade-off though, for being more fuel hungry, the acceleration is definitely there, allowing it to hit at times even, I want to say higher than grade 4s a little bit, just a tad. If there's any problem though, is that you're definitely going to fuel in a lot quicker than most others on that margin, for the most part, because of the fact it's a bigger body than usual K car. That's like the M1. Even the M1 kind of burns a bit more because it's a K van. It's not a regular K car. Well, I don't know. It's weird to say K van when it's technically a K hatchback, but it's just really weird on that saying. But yeah, basically I got grade 4s versus K cars, and you have like contenders like the Honda M1 RS, you have the Cappuccino, you have the Copen RJ VGT. You get ready to see that. There's more on that when we get to there. The Honda Beat, which while it's a great car, the AI just drives it like shit. So yeah, you're definitely going to see that one instant through an AI battle, because this thing is not that good when the AI takes control of it at the end of it. But yeah, you got your I will say I did play gentle on the grade 4s, only the FRs and the FS for now, and then we'll do the all-wheel drive ones, because the all-wheel drives, no doubt, they're probably going to be superior. I'm just going to flat out say that. The rust, by fuel burners, they burn a lot more. I don't see it otherwise. But you get to see some funny contenders of detuned grade 4s, example like the Viper or the Italia, Ferrari Italia, for example. But yeah, you get to see some funny ones too, like the Jimny Sierra, which that's technically not a K car, but I'm going to count it anyways because it's the Jimny, for God's sake. And there's that Jimny, matter of fact. However, this Jimny is also different too, because it has a Suzuki Swift motor, just to say. So yeah, there's a lot of fun things to be said, and yeah, this was going to be my big moment to discuss, because yeah, this is not just me discussing about the engine swap, this is me discussing about the new tryouts in the future here, on top of it. So it's like 2 stones in one, just so to say. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this footage later for the tryouts, but yeah, otherwise here it is in the full flesh, technically, where I think in the tryouts you probably got to see momentarily of it at the end of it. But yeah, just got some fun contenders. You can see how good the Honda M1 RS is as a 155 racer. It's really good, and also yeah, that white body just makes it more nicer, I will say. It's almost like they should just keep it on that wide body. Yeah, that wide body overhauls the M1 RS. You wouldn't believe how much it does. Because it basically makes it as wide as a Mini Cooper at the end of the day. An 05 Mini Cooper to say, not like, you know, later ones where they get bigger and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, the Carry KC with the 2+4 motor is a very fantastic addition to do, and I would, for anyone who likes the Carry truck, do it. Just do it. Just flat out do it. You ain't gonna regret that much. Besides the cost factor, which is like, you know, 230, 300 grand, sadly, because it is an experimental bike motor. It's not a production bike motor, but if it was production, maybe like 100,000. That's the bad part. It's still gonna be high for something like that. But yeah, it's still kind of cool that you can turn around and stick this bike motor into any of the K cars. I say any loosely. There's some of them that don't have it, like for example the Cappuccino, but the Cappuccino has something even better, which is the RX-7 motor, and that thing is already crazy enough, I'll say. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they introduced the Mazda Cosmos and used the Cosmos' motor for the K cars. And when I mean the Cosmos, I don't mean the Uno's Cosmos, I mean the first one. The one that just had the one rotary motor. Because I do find that if you just have one rotary, I think it's really good for the most part. I doubt when it came to that. But reliability is a bastard when it comes to rotary engines in general. That's the biggest problem about rotary in general, because I hope you're ready to afford a high maintenance at the end of the day, or in this case, keeping your motor intact at the end of the day, because you're definitely going to be opening that motor like several times throughout the year. And that's the biggest problem about rotary engines in general, because they require that high maintenance. If you ain't going to give it that high maintenance, it's going to explode on you. And that's the problem about rotary engines in general. Now, bike motors, on the other hand, I assume there's not much of a problem besides, I don't know about oil change. I assume there's probably not oil change involved with these. That and the high pitching noise. Yeah, I gotta admit, I don't really like the high pitching noise when it comes to these bike motors. But then again, it is all in race parts and stuff too, so reminder on that. But yeah, for the Carry KC though, it completely fixes the biggest problem when it came to the Carry KC. Because just to say, it wasn't going to be a contender until this happened. Which I am so glad everything to add for this update was this. Because this fixed the biggest problem when it came to the Carry KC. Which was not able to go faster than 155. And I'm not kidding on that. But overall, this is basically the showcase at the end of the day. If there's anything else I forgot to mention, of course, photo shoots. There's circuit experiences you're going to have to do. Because they did like a... No, it's not reverse on Nürburgring. Matter of fact, they added like a time trial for Nürburgring to go in reverse. It's very odd, but it's kind of cool at the same time, I gotta say. Driving Nordschleifer in reverse is very interesting. But for the circuit experience, though, they have Gals Vavanul and Yas Marina, and then they have another. Yeah, it was for this one here where you get to do the reverse. Yeah, it was the reverse take on Eiger Nordland here, because yeah, they did a reverse one finally for that. Because yeah, they had the reverse layout for your bot, they didn't do the reverse circuit experience for it. And which yeah, whenever that happens, it does lower the amount of earn you do for custom races. Because in order to get a huge earn of the custom races, you gotta do the circuit experience to get that huge earn. If you don't do that circuit experience in golds, you don't ever get the high earn of this. Which I hope that doesn't bum people out, but it does make them learn to be a tough driver at the end of the day. Because I mean, I did all of them at the end of the day. I'm not a professional player. I'm a bit of, I would say, pro casual at the end of the day. I hit a bit pro, but I'm still basically a casual at the end of the day. I hit both links at the end of the day. I have patience to some things, I don't have patience to everything. But yeah, that's basically what the showcase overall for the update of 1.66. Well, technically 1.65, but it updated to 1.66 here. So until then, people, I'll see you guys on next time. I hope you enjoyed what you see here in the showcase. And until then, take care, people. Have a good time.